All right, so let's see if we get sound. All right, so Shalom. First and foremost, I'm gonna start off by saying Barakathum, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah. I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem Kakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and shout out to the whole for elect, starting with the 144,000. Shalom. All right, so Lord willing, wanted to get on this lesson before I got on the road, and as soon as I woke up this morning, I seen this video. I looked through the spirit, the spirit allow, we're gonna go into it, and so as like I said, I was meditating in the spirit, about going into it or whatnot, started watching the lesson of Elder Pastor Rumlau, what he did today, it's titled, you should know, yet shall know that there have been a prophet among them, and this is even made me think of that even more. So in the spirit made me go ahead and get on why the spirit was on me to knock it out, in a sense, right? Because now the people are seeing, that how you want to put it, the Hebrew Israelites were right, however you want to put it, they're seeing it's quote unquote a time of a great awakening, right? Let's put this right up. Just start notifications, but we in the time of that great awakening, real quick, right? Let me see. I want to go to Acts. Let's go to the book of Acts, chapter 2, and verse 17, right? And it reads, it says, I started verse 15. He said, "But these are not drunken, as ye suppose, seeing it is but the third hour of the day. But is that which was spoken by the prophet Joel, it shall come to pass in the last days, saith the Lord, saith Yahweh, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh. Your son, your daughter shall prophesy, your young man shall see visions, and your old man shall dream dreams." Right? He said, I'll read on that a little bit more, right? It says, and on my servants and on my handmaids, I will pour out in those days of my spirit. I will pour out in those days of my spirit, they shall prophesy. I will show wonders in heaven above and signs in earth beneath, blood and fire and vapor of smoke, right? The sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon to blood before the great and notable day of the Lord come, right? In these last days, they seeing how wicked Esau is. He's been exposed, right? They seeing the war going on. They seeing how the war is, in a sense, ramping up day by day. They seeing, things that the Israelites, the righteous man, not just the Israelite, Hebrew Israelites with 100% truth, which is GMS starting at Apostle Tahar on down. Those sincere men, Yahweh Shah, been prophesying to teach you the downfall of this place, right? Been telling you for so long, right? Let's go to Micah 2:10 real fast. Telling you so long, right? It says, "Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. Because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with the sword of destruction." So this is what I've been telling you for so long. The scriptures tell you, give them warning from me. I'm going to give you, because it's mercy of Yahweh Shah. Him giving us the names back, and us being able to return to knowledge and understanding. Us having the spirit was mercy from Yahweh Shah to be able to overcome the destruction that's going to come upon this place. In these last days, you're going to see a lot of Jake wake up, because Esau, the light of the wicked is being put out, right? The light of the wicked is being put out. The light of Yahweh Shah is shining. One of my favorite preachers like to grab, 2nd Ezra chapter 6, truth that has been so long without fruit, it shall flourish, right? The truth is flourishing. That light of Yahweh Shah is flourishing all over. And it's uncovering darkness and secret things that Esau, tried to hide, And one of the things that's going on is, I done heard a couple elders say it, but, people are sobering up. These nations are sobering up, and the Hebrew Israelites, right? Even Jake is sobering up. Jake's starting to realize how bugged out in the dumb state he was in, falling for these false doctors, these Christian, most all of them, right? As like I said, excuse me, right, for the stuff he knows, right? So I want to play this video, Lord willing, through the spirit, we'll go some precepts around it. But
why in the hell would they give us the key to heaven? Jamal, that's the same way I feel about Christianity. What you said about MAGA?
Yes.
And them white
yes.
preachers?
Yes.
I don't like anything that the slave master believed in. Nothing. I don't care what it is. We can take the same principles and call it something else. Them folks didn't want us on earth. Why in the hell would they give us the key to heaven? That don't make no sense. They never gave.
In a sense, they're not giving, and we understand it. Only ones who get that key to heaven is, only way you can get that key to heaven is from Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. You have to be chosen. Remember what he told the disciples, Matthew chapter 13, merely paraphrasing, right? It's given unto you to know the secrets to the kingdom of heaven, right? Because the Most High ain't appoint the kingdom to nobody but Yahweh Shai. So the world to come is appointed to Yahweh Shai. So you have to, Yahweh Shai has to sup with you through the Spirit, right? It reveal those things unto you. That's the key. See, how he's saying is, see, Jake done got so dumbed down. As we mentioned that camp a few times, Stockholm syndrome, man. They done fell in love with that cat. They're gonna fall in love with their oppressors. Let's continue the video.
Us anything that was good. So I'm not saying that it's not right if it's right or wrong, but what I am saying, the same way that we sit up and judge people,
yes,
and ain't done no research, ain't transcribed,
yes,
ain't went overseas to get those scrolls to make sure that
yes,
they didn't put their own ideology in those things.
Yes.
Those people have lied about everything, Jay.
Yeah.
And it has been used as a mechanism, bro. Like, a wise man told me one time, it is better to be in chains than to have your mind taken over.
Yeah.
Because you, at least with the chains, you know what you're fighting against.
Yeah.
But mentally, if you don't know no better, my grandmother died, one of the most oppressed women in Mississippi, and she was happy. Imagine that, them folks.
You seen the video how he basically saying how the Jake really realized. I know he a movie. I don't know his name though, but he realizing how. Well, I think he said his name in the video, but he realizing how Esau has been controlling the minds of these people. How he mentioned these people are liars, right? That's Job 13:4, right? We'll grab that real fast. How Esau is a forger of liar, man. This goes all the way back to the Christopher Columbus coming over here. Job 13:4. It says, "Ye are forgers of liars." It's like you are forged, but ye are forgers of lies. Ye are all for this of no value. So we knowing that they're nothing but liars. All they do is lie, deceive, and trick. That's all Esau Edom do. You know what I'm saying? Like I mentioned, this goes back to Christopher Columbus them coming over here. They knew why they was coming over here. They created an enterprise, right? They come out that bottomless pit to create an enterprise so that they can establish this. This was the establishment. This was the key place to the establishment of the New World Order. They knew what was going on. I think he came over here with 5 Hebrew interpreters. They came over here with 5. I got it in my notes. Let's see. Let's see, bear with me. All right. So Cristobal Colon, which is the real name of Christopher Columbus, he came to the Americas with 5 interpreters. He was not Italian or Israelite, right? Louis de Torres, Christopher Columbus' interpreter, one of the main languages he spoke was Hebrew and Aramaic, which stems from the Hebrew. Shows he knew exactly where he was going and knew who these people were. He knew Israelites was here, right? But in a sense, we want to get into how, we at that point now to where Esau's his covered cast is being lifted, right? Let's go. I think it's in Isaiah. Yeah, Isaiah 25:7, right? Let's go to that. And you see how the guy mentioned, basically saying how he basically saying in a sense how everybody's mind is controlled. Remember the Willie Lynch dude, I like to mention a lot, Willie Lynch, the slave master. What he tell him, Willie Lynch, his philosophy was let's see, Willie Lynch. Let's type it in. Willie Lynch philosophy. Don't be the slave. Control their mind. They mind their mind. You want to put it right. Let's see. Let's go to chat. When you type certain things in Google don't want to give you a direct response. They want to send all type of links or not, you know. Maybe any other time we gave it AI overview. Let's see. Let's type it in on chat. Alright. Okay, so I typed in Willie Lynch philosophy, don't beat slaves, control their mind. It says that the idea you're referring to is commonly called the Willie Lynch philosophy. Based on the speech known as the Willie Lynch letter, it includes the notion, right, that instead of relying on only physical punishment, enslavers can maintain control by shaping how enslaved people think, controlling the mind rather than constantly beating the body, you know? So, in a sense, right, he's basically saying we don't got to beat them no more. Let's trick them and deceive them. Let's just control their mind. That's why the scriptures say what? We battling spiritual wickedness in high places, you know? We battling spiritual wickedness in high places. And Esau knew what he was doing, you know? Esau knew what he was doing. That's why when he came out in the Renaissance, he came out tricking, deceiving, pushing his way into it. It came to a point where everybody just accepted it, you know? Oh, you know, so-called Yahushua, so-called white man, his name is Jesus. All this, they pushed it to where it became the normal, right? They pushed it to where it became a normal, you know? So the wicked became normal. That's why I said most of them would take good for bad, and bad for good. Because Esau made the evil good. Esau made the evil look good in a sense. Because he got the people mind control, he got them deceived and tricked. So they don't even see how Esau's got that covered cast that got them. You know, that's why the scripture say, you know, Isaiah 62, you know, people gross darkness. That's the confusion, the wickedness, the lies. That's the people are confused and caught up in that, you know. So let's go here, Isaiah 25:7, right? It says, I was saying I want to start over. We just get to the point, verse 7, right? It says that he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people. And that also goes into how the names, man. Oh, you're so-called black man. You're so-called this. You're so-called that. That's why they crowd them names. Look at what they do. Oh, you're the Jew. Oh, you're the Jews. You're the people from the land of Israel. These are the Jews, right? They done put this covered cast of everybody, which we are the true Jews. If you want to, you know, in a sense, understand it. Those phonies in our land, they're not Hebrew Israelites. They're not the Jews. We are the Jews, right? You know. But it says, and he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations. Esau got that veil that was spread over all nations. They had them tricked and deceived. They had them confused. They had them bugged out, right? This veil had covered the whole earth. This veil had covered everybody, you know? This veil had everybody deceived. This veil had everybody, you know, caught up in the sin. No, you feel me? So everything that Esau put out, Esau pushed, everybody believed it. Because when he came out, right? Let's go to Revelation. Because you got to think, we were ruling, the Moors were just Israelites who practiced Islam. Our people was ruling in Europe. They call it Dark Ages in a sense, right? Our people was using start with Nerva. You know, we understand that Constantine, he the one who came like basically decreed Christianity all over, you know? And then after that, the pagan Roman Empire went to the Holy Roman Empire, you know? Let's go here, Revelation 20. But for that period, right, when you see the first 3 verses, right, we'll read them, right? It says, and I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit, and the great chain in his hand. Because Esau was down, and the angel was talking about Yahushua, right? Having the key of the bottomless pit. The bottomless pit is what? That's Europe. You know, the key represents authority that was down, that was under us, right? You know, and that great chain in his hand, because Esau was subdued. He was basically he had you know, the curses on him. He was down. He couldn't move how he wanted to, right? You know, I got it right here in my notes a little bit. We'll read it. All right, the bottomless pit represent land, talking about Europe, right? The key represents control, authority, right? It will put under the curses, captivity, right? Like right now, how we under captivity in the sense, as I was mentioning, right? Verse 2, it says, oh, and I want to go into that Constantine. I got it right here, right? So the chain represents captivity, also represents Jake, because you know when they came rulership in Rome, started with Nerva, right? When the Israelites took over, Domitian was the last ruler of the Edomites, the Flavian dynasty. Vespasian, Titus, Domitian, that's that Flavian dynasty. You understand it. You can go read about that in 2nd Esdras chapter 11, right? So 96 AD is when Nerva came in, right? Once they stopped Nerva Khan, and they were took down, but Jake still kept the ancient pagan the Roman pagan ways until 325 AD when Constantine brought or made Christian the religion of the Roman Empire, right? So let's continue. He says that he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. That's just titles in a sense, right? That's just titles of Esau Edom, that devil, Satan, right? But he was bound 1,000 years, right? The time of Esau fall, the Roman Empire fall to the Renaissance, he was bound at 1,000 years. He said they cast him to the bottomless pit and shut him up instead of seal upon him, because that seals upon him. He couldn't move, he couldn't deceive nobody, he couldn't trick everybody, right? It says that he should deceive the nations no more, because he couldn't trick nobody, he couldn't deceive nobody, right? Most High brought him down. It said till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled, that day must be loose little season. When you understand it, we're in that little season right now. We're in that little season right now, right? Because you got the first 1,000 years from the fall of the Roman Empire to the Renaissance, right? Then you got the little season which we're in now, right? But we really touching on the first 1,000 years in a sense, but just for edification's sake, then you have verses 4, 5, and 6 going into that second 1,000 years when we're gonna be in rulership with Yahushua. From the fall of this place to the 1,000 years rule we reign with Yahushua, when we're gonna be on these nations bad, they're gonna be our slaves, we're gonna be on them bad, right? And then after that, Esau, once he served his time, his 1,000 years, we're gonna tie them up, burn them up, right? Then the other nations, we're gonna let them go back in their land, but they still gonna be under. They still gonna be our slaves. They still gonna be our handmaids. They still gonna be under it, right? But we're gonna let them go into their lands or whatnot, though, right? So boom. We're gonna jump down to verse 7 and 8, right? So after Esau was bound 1,000 years, he couldn't move and he couldn't deceive how he wanted to, right? So it says, verse 7, it said, when 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison. So after those 1,000 years, he was loose, because the prophecy, Most High brought them back up. After those 1,000 years, Esau, they was loose, right? When you go into I gotta find a lesson. I'm gonna put it in the link description. But one of the elder brothers did it, and it was titled America was Ashereth, known as Ashereth, right? He was showing books, he was showing like history, showing like pictures of how basically it was like Jake kings and princesses that was in ruling in like kingdoms. And when you go in Spain and Portugal, you see like statues of Jake, like things that such, how they had the garments on, just how the Israelites were. Or that's how you understand that once again the Moors just Hebrew Israelites who practice Islam. But in a sense, like you see like Esau, so-called white man, surrounded the king like with pitchforks and things that such, trying to do uproars, riots. That's what they was doing. They was coming out until it got to a point to where everybody just accepted it. Everybody just ran with it because they was doing it. So you know what I'm saying? They was pushing it out, right? It says when those 1,000 years were expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison. Right? And what he says, as soon as he loosed out of his prison, what he go do? It shall go deceive. It shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters, right, of the earth, right? Gog and Magog, which is Russia, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is the sand of the sea. That battle talking about Armageddon. They have World War III. They're gonna be fighting each other. Mountain of the Truth. They're gonna fight each other, and then Yahushua is gonna come, right? And then once Yahushua come, they're gonna turn to fight him, right? Well, in a sense, you have these people. You have this going on. You have Esau Edom went out and deceived the whole world. The whole, he went out and deceived everybody. He done put that vow on the earth. As we read in Isaiah 25. Let's go back to Isaiah 25, right? Isaiah 25 and verse 7 again. It says that he will destroy in his mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and the vow that is spread over all nations, right? So Esau got that vow that is covered up, that's got everybody covered up, this trick and deceit, controlling their mind. But now it's been uplifted. People are starting to wake up and see this false prophet, this Roman Catholic Church, this Christianity, that created all these religions, created all these things to keep Jake down, keep Jake dumbed out, keep Jake confused. Now the people are starting to wake up and realize what's going on. They're sobering up. They're starting to see the path they're taking is leading them straight to destruction. So it's another precept relation that came to mind I wanted to grab. Let me see. Bear with me. Let's see. Okay, here it is. Come. Right? This is Revelation 12:9. He says, and that great dragon, right, this is the Roman Empire, right? You know, the Edomites, Roman Empire, was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, right? You understand, you know, the Roman Empire, Esau, Edom, same thing. This devil, the Satan, he's talking about the Edomites, right? Which deceived the whole world, right? He deceived the whole world. He got everybody confused and deceived. He was cast out to the earth, and his angels cast out with him, and somebody's armies and whatnot, you know. But in a sense, I just want to get to the point where he deceived the whole world, because he done had the whole world deceived. He done had the whole world tricked. He done made the whole world think. People really think Yahweh Shai is a so-called white man, right? When you search up pictures, as soon as you type in pictures of, then they done changed his name. In a sense, everybody calling him JC, right? When you really going, that's why they say people don't research nothing. It's clearly it shows you how bugged out how Jake is. What the script say inside his children. You know, the people don't even try to even research or try to see what's going on. All you gotta do is type in when the letter J was invented, when English was invented, and you will see you cannot say his name was JC, right? He walked Earth 2,000 years ago, and letter J was invented. I've only been around about 500 years, in a sense, if I'm not mistaken, right? So it's like Jake don't search thing out. He just automatically run. He automatically run with it because Esau done figured out how to control Jake's mind. He done figured out how to control. He figured out that we ain't gotta physically enslave them no more. We can just mentally enslave them, right? Let's see. Let's go. Wisdom was Ephesians, Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 12. It says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." And that's what got Jake. See, Esau done put out this spiritual wickedness all over. Jake done fell into it. Jake so deep into it, you can't even tell him what's going on. You know, ultimately understand it. How about Shai he's blocking them from receiving it. They won't be able to receive the spirit of Yahweh Shai because they ain't meant to receive it. But now, that vow is being uplifted. That vow that covers the whole earth is being uplifted. Esau's being exposed. And this what does Scripture say? 2 Thessalonians 2, right? It says, right? It says in that wicked, it's like in verse 8, right? It says, "And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth." What is the spirit of his mouth? His prophets. That's why he said, "How long you be sinful? I'll put my spirit unto you, turn you in my reproof." Because he sent the prophet, the teacher, to give warning, to tell you about this wickedness, about this evil. Remember, Esau Edom is that crafty, cunning serpent from the garden. To be truly learned, you got to be serpent. You got to know his ways. You got to know his tactics. He's smooth with it. Right? He said, it shall destroy the brightness of his coming. The chariots thing that says, right? It says, "Even him who's coming after Satan, and the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders." Right? The scripture say, there's gonna be false prophets to come, that they're gonna come with miracles and signs, things. So if it were possible, they would be able to see the very elect. Really paraphrase Matthew 24:24. That's how strong Esau come with this delusion, right? And continue reading, says, "And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, they might be saved. And for this cause," because they're bugged out, right? What the Most High saying? "And for this cause, Yahweh shall send them strong delusion, and they shall believe a lie." So it's at the point now to everybody, they believe a lie. That vow was covered the whole earth. The people believed a lie. It says that they all might be damned who believe not truth and had pleasure in unrighteousness. Because Esau done created this vow that covered the earth. It was pure, this vow of wickedness that had the whole earth covered and held down. So but now Most High is pouring his spirit out. Right? Now this vow is being uplifted. Now Jake is sobering up. So now Jake is starting to see what Jake is starting to see his what scripture say, "Well, you shall loathe yourselves." Right? Let's grab that. This is Ezekiel 22. If I'm not mistaken. See, a lot of Jake ain't gonna get it for real at all. But a lot of Jake's starting to wake up and see. Right? Is that Ezekiel 22? Bear with me. I know it's in Ezekiel. Ezekiel 36. It's like I don't know why. I don't know why I thought Ezekiel might be the most Heavenly Father trying to get me going to there, right? So this is Ezekiel 36, right? Let's go to the new covenant, right? Let's see. I'm gonna get straight to the point, right? Right? We'll start at verse 27. Let's go to the second covenant, what's gonna happen in the kingdom. But right now, the Most High is pouring His Spirit out. Right now, the light, the truth that has been so long without fruit, right now is coming back. Right now is at its strong point. Right now, it's exposed to Esau tatters his ways, and now you seeing Jake starting to open his eyes up. Jake was walking in darkness. He was groping noonday. Now his eyes are open. Now, you're gonna have some who wake up and come into the elect, but you have most of them who just gonna wake up and realize how bugged out and dumb they've been, how long they've been rejecting the truth. And they're gonna realize, like, dang, but I was tripping, right? So it says, I will pour out my spirit within you and call you to walk in my statutes, to keep my judgments and do them. It's going into when we get into the kingdom, right? You shall dwell in that land that I gave to your fathers, the land of Israel, which America gonna be destroyed, and the land of Israel gonna be destroyed. We're gonna rebuild the land of Israel back up into the kingdom of Yahweh Shem Shai. He said, you shall be my people, and I will be your power. I will also save you from all your uncleanness, and I will call for the corn, and will increase it, lay no famine upon you. I will multiply the fruit of the tree, and the increase of the field, that ye shall receive no more reproach or famine among the heathen. Then shall you remember your own evil ways. So we need last days so we get close to salvation. Most High is showing you people gonna start remembering their own people. Now that people finna start remembering, people finna start coming to realization. So they've been living in this darkness, this filth. They've been living in this wickedness. This vow had them covered, but now they're starting to remember their own ways, their own evil ways, right? It says, in your doings that were not good, and shall loathe yourselves in your own sight for your iniquities and for your abomination, right? So they're going to loathe themselves. They're starting to see it because that vow has been uplifted. Now they're starting to see that, dang, we was tripping. That's why this America's called what? That melting pot, right? It's Micah 3, right? In verse 2, it says, who hate the good and love the evil, who pluck off their skin from off their bones, who pluck the skin from off them and their flesh off their bones, right? Because Jake fell in love with the evil. If Esau, had him control, he had that vow that was covering him, that vow that had him that held down. But now it's been uplifted. Now Jake's starting to realize, but it's at a point to where for a lot of them it's too late. For majority of them it's too late. Lord willing, Yahweh Shem Shai, he'll have some come in. He control it all. His thoughts higher than our thoughts, his ways higher than our ways. But at a point, he's telling you, like, hey man, you better tighten up. You still got the chance because the Most High is still near. We know you still see Lord He is near because the truth is still out here. I understand the names. You still sincere men, how about y'all still on the highways and byways, still doing lessons. But in a sense, man, hey, you people are cooked. Now you starting to realize, you trying to go hard in the game when it's a minute and 30 left. Man, you down 21 points. You should have kept that same energy throughout the whole process. But now you starting to see, And this is why I said, woe to you who laugh now, you'll cry later. Because now you at a point, now you start to realize, now you like, dang, but nah, man. For so long, the prophets have been down, despised, talked bad about all these things. Now you see it's true, in a sense. Hey, we happy you see it's true, but hey, you should have paid attention from the beginning, how should I say? If I had not come, there'd have been no cloak for their sin. But he came, so there's no excuse. Cloak going to excuse. There's no excuse not to say you haven't heard, not to understand it, right? Matter of fact, I'm gonna grab another precept in there as well. I'm gonna say that I'll close out the Isaiah 25:7 NLT, right? As they don't. No, I know this in Ezekiel. Okay. Ezekiel 33. All right. Yeah, it's Ezekiel 33, right? I started verse 1. It says, again, the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, son of the man, speak to the children of thy people, and say unto them, when I bring the sword upon the land, that the people of the land take a man of their coast and set him for their watchman, right? So if you bring the sword upon the land, you got a man watching out, right? It says that if when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet and warn the people. What have we been doing, right? You know, we have been waving that banner, we have been waving that standard upon the high mountain. The high mountain is referred to Isaiah 13:2, right? Because that sword is the destruction, the war, the pain, nuclear missile that's going to come upon this place. We've been telling you about, right? We've been waving that. We've been blowing the trumpet. We've been waving that banner on this high mountain over America. The standard of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, telling you, hey, tighten up, get right, return back to Yahweh Shem Yahushua, right? It says, then whosoever hears the sound of the trumpet and taketh not warning, because Jacob have not been taking warning. But now they starting to see the sword is nigh. Now they starting to see the sword is near. Now they starting to see the destruction. Because remember, the sword is ready. Ezekiel chapter 21 tells the sword is ready. The sword is furbished, right? It says, if the sword come and take him away, his blood shall be upon his own head. He heard the sound of the trumpet and took not warning, his blood shall be upon him. But he that taketh warning shall deliver his soul. That's what? Choosing the fear of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. See, Jake ain't want to choose the fear of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Because then none just come upon them, or then none just come upon them right then and there at that moment. So they felt like they had time, they felt like they do this and that, all this and that. They fell in love with the lifestyle that Esau created here, that vow that was covering them up, right? Let's continue reading a few more precepts down. It says, but if the watchman see the sword come and blow not the trumpet, which the men are out here teaching the truth, right? And the people be not warned, the sword come to take any person from among them, he is taking away his own iniquity, but his blood will I require at the watchman's hand. All right? It says, so thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman to the house of Israel. Therefore thou shalt hear the word of my mouth and warn them from me. Right? So Yahweh Shem Yahushua is giving us the spirit to warn you, to tell you. We've been telling you for so long. You know, but you've been gross darkness. What does Scripture say above we read? They took not warning. You know, they ain't pay attention to the warning, right? They take up not warning, right? But now that vows are lifted, now they at the point, now that vow been covering them up so much. Now they in a sense, now they want us. You heard it, but you want to listen. Now you want to start listening to the trumpet. Now you trying to cry out, right? It says, when I say unto the wicked, O wicked man, thou shalt surely die, if thou dost not speak to warn the wicked from his way, that wicked man shall die his iniquity, but his blood I'll require at thy hand. Nevertheless, if thou warn the wicked, which we have done, right? It says, because this lesson going up daily, right? It says, the one wicked of his way to turn from it. If he do not turn from his way, he shall die his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul, man, right? You know. So now that vow is being lifted, man. But Jake at a point. Now Jake trying to listen to the trumpet. The trumpet has been blown. The trumpet has been going out. Been sounding since Elder Abba Bivens, right? The spirit came upon him, right? 1970s. The trumpet has been blowing. The trumpet has been getting blown. But Jake chose not to listen to it. He heard it, but he chose not to listen to it. Now he won't listen to it now because that vow has been uplifted. You know, he's not hypnotized by Esau's tactics no more. So now he want to return back. In a sense, hey, if he of the elect, Yahweh Shem Yahushua gonna bring him in. But if he not, hey, you know, you ain't take over that warning. So, hey, you know, you gonna die your iniquities, and you know, that blood is on yourself, right? What is Isaiah 25:7? When we close it out in NLT, it says, there he will remove the cloud of the gloom, the shadow of death that hangs over the earth, man. So that vow is over that's over all people, man. It's been removed, man. People are starting to come to realization of who we are and what it is, man, and how you know who are those chosen people. These false religions, these false doctrines, all these things. You know, we in that time of a great awakening, man. Now it's time to wake out of sleep. You know, one of my old teammates, you know, he hit me up, you know, and he was telling me, you know, he had a point now where he had a point now in the sense to where, you know, he was telling me how, you know, how his friend girl trying to get him to come into Christianity. She want to be with him, if he want to be with her in a sense, you know. And he was just like, and people trying to give him a Quran to you know, tell him, you know, Muslim is the way. And he just like, man, I'm trying to read and figure out, hey, which one is right, you know, which one it is, you know. And I'm just telling him, hey, you know, pray, you know, in a sense, you know, I told him about the word of truth, you know, it's clicking to him. Is like, dang, like in a sense mesmerized of, you know, how he's seeing how these Christianity and all these other religions are false, and how, you know, there's not only historical in the Bible. You can't go against the Bible because we show you throughout the Bible, but It's historical facts that's showing you how that things are not what it is. That everybody's been lied to. That Val has been covered Earth for so long, but now it's been uplifted. Now Jake is crying out for wisdom. Now Jake is trying to figure out what's going on. But in a sense, Lord, like I say, if you're of the elect, the Lord willing, how about shall I bring you in? Lord, we of the elect. That's why we give Colin. Lord willing, we of that hopefully elect. That's why we give due diligence, put in the work to make our Colin election sure, Lord willing, right? But if you have that number, how about shall I bring you in? But now it's now it's a cry for wisdom, and for so long the trumpet has been being blown, but it's like now Jake is just now hearing it, So like with that being said, Lord willing, right? Hope the lesson is edifying, exalting, and I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and shout out to the Hope Elect, starting with the 144,000. Shalom.